Well, when I think of my time thinking about character, my mind goes back to Dr. King, because I think of when I was visiting Washington, D.C. a few times myself, and being able to go and stand there on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial and then find the plaque where he actually stood to deliver that speech is quite amazing. And you can stand there and look out and imagine the 250 million people that he spoke to that day. And so in that speech he talks about character, and he says words to the effect that he has a dream, and that one day his children will be respected for the content of their character rather than the colour of their skin. And when I think of those words, it reminds me the importance of developing character in young people and within the staff of a school environment. And of course, as educators, we all want our students to be able to develop something else that Dr. King mentions in another quote, that one of the great things that we can aspire to in life is to have length and breadth and height in our life and also in our careers. And so when we think about our students, that's an ideal context to set for the content of a character and how we might think to develop that in students. And of course, in our schools, most of our schools have kids from kindy or prep all the way through to year 12. So we have 12, 13, 14 years to model, to give opportunities to develop character, and to find those moments when character can be developed. So there's camps, there's excursions, there's local trips, there may be overseas mission trips. And these are all vital elements in our schools to allow students the chance to find the moment when they realise that character has an impact for them personally, but also it has an amazing capacity to influence other people and change their lives as well. If you're looking for some great material to develop your thinking even further about character, of course you can look to the ACS website, and Lynn and Ron Woolley have written some great articles that are being published about character and why it matters to us as an organisation and also to individual schools as they look to fulfil their own mission statements. One of our great attributes at ACS has been, over the last few years, the development of many international friends. Some are colleagues, some are friends, some are very close. A couple of years ago, we met two wonderful people who've written two wonderful books that I can highly recommend to you. First of all, David Brooks. His book, The Road to Character, is highly recommended and has had a great influence on my own life, and we've shared that here at Northside. His wife, Anne Snider, has also written a book called The Fabric of Character, and I think you'll find that fascinating. She lists out over a dozen characteristics with some key questions that you can take one at a time just to consider in your own school environment how you're going in thinking about, implementing, and then seeing outworked in student and in staff lives the development of character and the influence it has in your school community. Here at Northside, character is really important. In fact, our college motto is character through Christ. And so, of course, we're thinking about character and reading about character all the time. As we do that, we've simplified the message, and particularly through my own thinking about what this means and how to communicate it to students in particular. So my dad obviously had a big influence on my life along with my mum, but Dad was a printer, and many decades ago, his role was to be a linotype operator. He operated a huge machine where molten lead would be fed into one side of the machine. It was quite fascinating as a boy. He would sit in the middle and type, and on the other side, as he typed, line by line, lines of type, hence the linotype machine, would be produced. He would take that set of print that he'd just typed up, and he would take it over to a bench and he'd set it together in a page. And one of the fascinating things for me was he would then roll ink on it, and he put paper on it, and he'd then read it, and he checked for spelling accuracy, obviously, but he wanted to make sure that each individual character that stood out from the metal that he had printed was accurate, but that was also perfect in the imprint that it had made on the page. And so I say to students and staff, are we living a good and godly imprint, a good and godly mark on everyone we speak to and everyone we meet in our school community? If we're doing that, we're fulfilling our school motto, character through Christ. So is character really important? Is it important as a school leader? Is it important for our staff and our students? I believe that parents send their students to our schools because they believe in our values, and out of those key values, one of the key ones that they consider is character development in their students, so character formation. So is it really important? I believe absolutely. It is vital for our schools. And as an association, our belief is that we want our students in our schools to represent positively to the wider society for the common good of not only our families, but for everyone in our country, everyone in the world. And so character formation is vital. I'd encourage us all to take the time to think about it, to ask some questions about how it's going in our school, and to consider how we can do character development, or as I prefer, character formation for our staff, our students, and ourselves, even better than we have in the past.